In the mist-shrouded hills of Hungary, where ancient forests whisper forgotten tales, there stood a church known to all as the Black Basilica. Its spires pierced the sky like accusing fingers, and its weathered stones seemed to weep with the weight of centuries. The year was 1817, but the basilica's origins stretched back into the shadowy depths of time, its foundations said to be laid with blood and bone. No villager dared approach its looming presence after nightfall, for when darkness descended, the air grew thick with dread. On every full moon, when the pale orb hung heavy in the sky, the toll of unseen bells would echo through the valley, a mournful dirge that chilled the soul. It was on such a night that young Isabel, a maiden with hair like spun gold and eyes as blue as forget-me-nots, found herself climbing the worn stone steps of the basilica. She had been sent to assist an old priest within its hallowed walls, a task that filled her heart with trepidation. As she ascended, a crimson fog began to seep through the windows, coiling around her ankles like spectral serpents. The great oak doors creaked open at her touch, revealing a cavernous interior bathed in flickering candlelight. Hundreds of flames danced in the gloom, their shadows twisting on the walls like writhing, tormented souls. The air was heavy with the scent of melted wax and ancient incense, a perfume that spoke of secrets best left buried. Isabel's footsteps echoed in the vast space as she made her way past rows of empty pews. Her gaze was drawn to the basin of holy water near the entrance, its surface as still as a mirror. As she reached out to bless herself, a cold voice whispered from the shadows, sending icy tendrils of fear down her spine. "You must take part in the ritual, or you will never leave." Panic seized her heart, and Isabel turned to flee, her golden hair streaming behind her like a comet's tail. But fate had other plans. The heavy doors slammed shut with a thunderous boom, as if pushed by an unseen force. The candles guttered in a sudden, icy wind that howled through the basilica, carrying with it the lamentations of countless lost souls. From the depths of the shadows emerged the old priest, his face as pale as death itself. His eyes glowed with an unholy crimson light, mirroring the fog that now swirled around their feet. When he spoke, his voice was like a dying hymn, filled with the weight of centuries. "Tonight, the death rite requires your heart, ... Isabel's scream was swallowed by the darkness as every candle extinguished in unison. The crimson fog thickened, becoming a living entity that consumed the chapel whole. In that moment of absolute blackness, Isabel vanished, swallowed by the hungry shadows that had waited so long for fresh prey. As dawn broke over the hills, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, the villagers whispered of strange sounds that had echoed through the night. Some swore they had heard a woman's desperate cries emanating from within the basilica, while others spoke of unearthly chanting that seemed to shake the very foundations of the earth. From that fateful night forward, a new legend was born. On every full moon, when the mist rises from the valley floor and the world holds its breath, those brave or foolish enough to venture near the Black Basilica claim to hear a woman's mournful wail carried on the wind. And in the drifting crimson fog that surrounds the ancient stones, sharp eyes might catch a glimpse of something fluttering like a tattered banner, the torn remains of Isabel's crimson dress, now a ghostly shroud that dances on the night air. The tale of Isabel and the Black Basilica became a whispered warning passed down through generations. Parents used it to caution their children against wandering too far from home, while lovers clasped hands tightly as they hurried past the looming structure on moonlit nights. The basilica stood as a silent sentinel, a monument to the darkness that lurks at the edges of our world, waiting for the unwary to stray too close. Years passed, and the legend grew. Some claimed that on particularly dark nights, when the moon was hidden behind heavy clouds, they could see flickering lights moving within the basilica's shattered windows. Others spoke of shadowy figures that seemed to flit between the tombstones of the overgrown graveyard, their movements too fluid to be entirely human. Attempts were made to cleanse the Black Basilica, to reclaim it for the light. Priests came from far and wide, armed with holy water and ancient prayers. But each time, they fled before their work was done, their faces ashen with terror at what they had encountered within those accursed walls. The basilica remained a place of darkness, a wound in the fabric of the world that refused to heal. As the centuries turned, the village around the Black Basilica dwindled. Families moved away, seeking places untouched by such palpable evil. Those who remained lived in its shadow, their lives forever marked by the knowledge of what lurked so close to their homes. They became a somber people, given to hushed conversations and wary glances over their shoulders. Yet even as the world changed around it, the Black Basilica remained constant in its malevolence. Modern skeptics who dared to challenge the legend found themselves confronted with experiences that defied rational explanation. Electronic equipment failed within its walls, compasses spun wildly, and even the bravest souls felt an overwhelming urge to flee when night began to fall. And always, there was the crimson fog. It crept from cracks in the stone, seeped from beneath doors long sealed, and coiled lovingly around the ankles of those who ventured too close. In its swirling depths, some swore they could see faces, twisted, agonized visages that silently screamed for release from their eternal torment. The story of Isabel and her fate became intertwined with the very essence of the Black Basilica. She was both victim and warning, a cautionary tale of innocence lost to ancient, insatiable hunger. On quiet nights, when the wind whispered through the trees and shadows seemed to move of their own accord, the villagers would gather to retell her story. It was a ritual of remembrance, a way to honor her memory and remind themselves of the darkness that lurked so close. As the years stretched into centuries, the Black Basilica remained a place of mystery and dread. It stood as a testament to the enduring power of folklore, a tangible link to a past where the boundaries between the natural and supernatural were far more permeable. The crimson fog continued to drift, the unseen bells told their mournful song, and somewhere in the shadows, the spirit of a young maiden named Isabel waited, forever trapped in a moment of terror that would never end. And so the legend persists, a dark thread woven into the tapestry of local history. The Black Basilica looms over the valley, a silent guardian of secrets best left untold. Its very presence serves as a reminder that some places in this world are not meant for mortal understanding, some rituals too terrible to contemplate. In the end, it is perhaps best to heed the whispered warnings, to hurry past its gates when night falls, and to remember that in the shadow of the Black Basilica, not all who enter are destined to leave.